right, guys, they're getting started.
I want to start by speaking to the loved ones of Renee Nicole Good. I am so sorry for your loss. I hope that the memories you cherish offer some small comfort to you in the days that follow. Earlier this week, our community witnessed a horrific event on our streets. Some saw it in person, and many more have seen it circulating online. Whatever your opinion is about what happened, this was a traumatic event. Since this happened, I've been on the phone and in meetings with law enforcement, justice leaders, elected officials, discussing ways to ensure a thorough and transparent investigation, how that can occur and be shared with our office. On Wednesday, our immediate focus was ensuring that an agreement could be reached for a joint investigation with the BCA and the FBI. To be clear, and I want to be very clear about this is not because we have concerns about the FBI investigation. Our efforts in advocating for a joint investigation is not an attack on the FBI. We have had a strong working relationship with the local FBI field office throughout my administration. Based on a previous experience with FBI processes, we are concerned that the evidence obtained in an investigation that has only been conducted at the federal level will not be shared with our office for review. In the past, the FBI has invited us to see a high-level overview of their investigation, but we were prohibited from seeing the entire investigation or talking about what we saw in that PowerPoint publicly. While I respect the FBI's process, our community's expectations are much different in terms of transparency. This community expects to understand what the evidence is and the justification for any decision that might be made. To that end, I cannot overstate the importance of a local investigation, or at least access to the federal investigation by the BCA. Without it, we will not have the ability to be transparent with our community about the results of the expectation, or, as I said, any decision that might come of the review. And let me be clear, we have no preconceived opinion on what the evidence will show. Making a charging or decline decision in an officer-involved case requires us to evaluate the evidence in the context of a complicated legal issues. For that reason, we cannot reach a conclusion about any outcome here. Our goal must be to ensure that a thorough investigation is completed at the local level so that our community can have transparency. We do not yet know if there will be sufficient evidence without the FBI case file to even make a charging decision. The FBI currently has, for example, Ms. Good's car, the shell casing, and witness interviews. The FBI has taken the car, and so any forensic analysis that comes from that would not be available to us unless they were sharing that. To be clear, when a state investigation happens by the BCA or any local agency, they submit the case to our office for evaluation of potential charges. The BCA does not make recommendations about what we should be doing. They simply submit the entire case file to us, and our legal professionals take a look at it and decide what the appropriate action is. That is the normal process that we've had here since about 2020. Law enforcement investigates, our office reviews to determine if there's enough evidence to even make a decision. And if there is evidence to review, we have jurisdiction to make that decision. So let me be clear here. We do have jurisdiction to make this decision that happened in this case where her life was taken in Hennepin County. It does not matter that it was a federal law enforcement agent. To be sure, there are complex legal issues involved when a federal law enforcement officer is involved. But the law is clear. We do have jurisdiction to make this decision. We cannot make any decision, however, if there is not evidence submitted to our office. So we are moving forward in collaboration with the Attorney General's office and the BCA to preserve any evidence and ensure that it can be reviewed. To that end, we are asking those in our community who have information or who have video or photos of the event to submit that information to our office. We are providing a secure link where people can submit this evidence. The link can be accessed using the QR code, which is displayed on the screen beside me. The link will also be posted on our website, hennepinattorney.org. Along with the evidence itself, we are asking people to provide contact information so investigators can follow up. Because it is important to collect and preserve evidence properly, we ask people to provide accurate and complete information on the form on our website. I know our community wants fast answers. I know this city feels again as if it is at the center of a national fight as you are processing everything that is happening here. And I wish I could promise a swift decision and the resolution that you want, but I cannot promise you that right now. Here is what I can promise you. Our offices will work together and have been working together on this and will continue to do so. We will continue to work around the clock to preserve, gather, and review as much evidence as we possibly can. We will be transparent with you to the degree that we can. We know that there will continue to be many questions. This is an active investigation, and I do not want to jeopardize any future decisions or processes, so there are likely to be many questions that we cannot answer right now. We know what our job is. It's not to play politics, but to ensure a thorough investigation, seek justice, and to be fair to all involved. And we are committed to doing that. Here's our Attorney General, Keith Holtz.
Thank you, County Attorney Moriarty. Thank you for gathering us today. I just want to be perfectly clear. The precious life of Renee Nicole Good was important. She's a mother of 3, including a 6-year-old child whose father passed away a few years ago. She died trying to be a legal assistant to legal observer to look out for the interests of the most vulnerable members of our community. And she leaves behind a lot of people who love and admire her. There's a lot of people who have a very big interest in this case, including the officers involved. They have an important interest. The fact is we have an interest as state prosecutors, which is what we both are, in fairness and transparency, and the degree that is possible to set forth a process which, when it's over, fair-minded people can say, well, as good and just of a job that could be done was done. I think I agree with County Attorney Moriarty. There is no conclusion that anyone can reach in good faith at this time, because there's too much evidence still to be evaluated. Now, what we're doing here is asking the public who may have video. There may be people who were on the scene, who saw what happened, who have some type of evidence that they feel bears on what the truth is in this case. And they can use that QR code as this evidence submission portal. The evidence will go to the Minnesota BCA, who will gather it. And we wanted to make sure that as the moments go by, every moment in these cases is precious. And, it is important that people know where they can go to share the evidence that they have in their possession. And so that's the idea here. So I know if you are someone who has direct information and you have information that you feel should be shared, please use this portal and share that information. Don't judge for yourself whether it's very important or not very important. Let the people who are evaluating and gathering the evidence make that decision. But if you have information bearing on the outcome of this matter in any way, please share it. And I will say, many of you in the press may ask the question, is this a state investigation? Well, gathering evidence is certainly a component of an investigation. we are going to do the best that we can do for the public, knowing that the current posture of the federal, and this is not a critique of them, it's just a statement of fact, the current posture is that the investigation is one that the feds want to do without state involvement. And so we still know that there's evidence out there, and we want to make sure it gets gathered and collected, and we'll deal with those other matters of joint versus exclusive later. But as for now, we want to make sure the evidence that may be out there in the public lands where it should. And so with that, I guess, any other comments to be made?
No,
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah.
One, please, one at a time.
You said the BCA is saving evidence with you, so what is the BCA's role here? And what do you make of their claim that they can't do an investigation anymore?
Well, so the question has to do with what is the BCA's role here? The BCA had already, as you know, there was an agreement to do a joint investigation with the FBI. So that had started. So that much the BCA has done. They are currently typing up those reports. They will certainly share those with us. Their role in this will be to collect and catalog all the information that we get here. I want to emphasize, this isn't about one department or anything. As the Attorney General said, this is about all of us at a state level working together on behalf of Minnesotans who expect all of us to be able to work together to come up with transparency in whatever a decision might be.
Ms. Moriarty,
Yes.
Two questions actually.
Sure.
Just to clarify, so the BCA, because of the initial agreement with the FBI, do they have the totality of whatever forensic crime scene evidence that was gathered? Is that already in the custody of the state?
So the question was about, because of the original joint agreement, does the BCA have access to forensic evidence? So the process here, the way the process unfolded is that the federal government came and was processing the scene. So the agreement had to be worked out with the BCA. When the BCA came to the scene, the evidence had been taken by the FBI. They collected the car and took it wherever. The BCA does not have access to the car. And the problem isn't that the FBI took the car, it's that the BCA doesn't have access to the car, or right now, even access to the forensic evaluation that happens as a result of the investigation with that car. So that's the concern here. That is what Drew Evans was saying, that in a normal investigation, the BCA would take the car, do their own forensic analysis, fingerprints, DNA, that kind of stuff, all of that kind of stuff. But they have not done that in this case, which would have been fine and would still be fine if the BCA could have access to the results.
So the fruits of the labor currently BCA does not have.
That's correct.
So I guess the part two of my question, and I'm sorry, is and I know how, I can only imagine how extraordinarily frustrating this is for your office and your prosecutors. You're doing this to get whatever kind of video evidence, whatever people can add to the investigation. But if you don't end up getting the forensic evidence from the FBI or from whoever, what can you do as a prosecutor?
I think it's premature to make that decision. We don't know what we're going to get. I'll note that there was a video posted last night that most of us hadn't seen before. That the caption on social media was that neighbors released it. And so we think that there may be other evidence out there, video, that kind of thing. We don't know. And so as the Attorney General and I know, it is critical to preserve evidence because it could be recorded over, something could happen to it. And so this is an attempt to make sure that we preserve the evidence that's out there. And so we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to look at what's there, but it's really too early right now to say what we can and cannot do. Matt.
Who at the Justice Department made this decision not to include the BCA in this investigation? Do you know?
I honestly think you should ask them.
Did you get any reasoning for why the FBI was taking over the investigation? Was there any reasoning behind that?
Maybe Mary knows more than I do. I was just informed that was the situation.
Even if it was the Trump administration?
No, so I was also informed that, the BCA, that as far as I knew, it was going to be a joint investigation based on the conversations we had had with the federal government as well as the FBI. And then that changed. The only way I can't speak to why.
Can you address how unprecedented this is? Are you going to be sharing information that you're gathering with the FBI? And federal authorities could not have been more clear yesterday that you folks had no jurisdiction. And Commissioner Bob Jacobson was asked this question yesterday, and he said that they couldn't do an investigation because they didn't have any of the evidence. Is Bob Jacobson and the BCA really on board with this? I don't see them
Yeah.
in this room.
That is not exactly what Commissioner Jacobson said. So I think it's important.
Well, that's pretty much what he said.
Well, please listen to what I'm about to say. I think it's important for everybody to understand that unit in the BCA was created, I think, after 2020, with the expectation that they would do the top-notch, investigate absolutely everything. Okay? What he was saying was that and this is what Superintendent Evans also said, they can't do the type of investigation that they would like to do, that they do in every case, if they don't have access to that physical evidence. That is what he's saying. And I want to remind people, though, we never have ideal investigations, pretty much, not because of the fault of officers, but we get cases submitted to us where we would like to have other types of evidence. So what he's saying is that they will not have access to some of that physical evidence. That would preclude them from doing the thorough investigation that they would like to do.
I didn't know that way, but
Yeah.
he thought Jacobson part of this.
Does
Lou.
this go straight to the BCA, or is this something that a catch-all for you guys that you
Yeah.
will then turn over to the BCA?
Yes.
And if you'll allow me to follow up.
Yeah. So the question is, does the QR code go right to the BCA? It does not. It comes to our office, and we have an agreement with the BCA that we will be sharing it so they can catalog it. Because the goal here is to make sure we are all on the same page and we understand what evidence has been collected.
Okay, and then just a follow-up to what was asked over there. Can you ultimately make a charging decision if you don't have the car with the ballistics? Like, something that is like that, where the actual evidence, piece of evidence is very important to the overall decision.
Yeah, and I can't answer that right now.
You don't know until you know.
One
And
last thing here.
Jeff.
What access do you have to the federal officers and to their understanding of the situation? And how important is that in the investigation of what happened here?
So the question was, what access do we have to federal officers? Really none. And, it is like a police investigation, a local police investigation too. Any officer can decide whether they want to give a statement or not. As always, we would like anyone who has anything to do with the case to give a statement. We don't always have that. So it's hard to say right now how important or not that would
Do you
be.
have any context into how much other states have access to these investigations when there's a federal incident where if the FBI does give them the evidence, like in other incidents where there's federal agents involved? Have you communicated with other states in these situations?
I can speak from my experience, and perhaps the Attorney General can as well. My first year here, there was a situation where the FBI was involved and the sheriff was involved, and the FBI did an investigation. And as I said, they invited us in. I mean, I had constant contact with the head of the FBI here, Alvin Winston. They invited us over to see a PowerPoint of the results of it, but it's simply their practice or their policy not to share the entire investigation. In fact, what they do initially is a civil use of force investigation. And I know they've also involved the DOJ. So and I want to go back to, this is not being critical of an FBI investigation. It is simply our access to the evidence that they collect. And so at a minimum, we certainly hope that they reconsider giving the BCA at least access to that information. One last question.
There was some talk about the immunity of ICE agents. Could you speak, do you think the Trump administration did this to try to stop charges, or is this ICE officer immune to charges in the state?
Yeah, I can't speak to why the Trump administration is doing what it's doing or says what it says. I can say that the ICE officer does not have complete immunity here. Thank you very much.
Autopsy and Wisconsin's remains, are they with the county?
They're with the county.
And do you know when they would be released?
I don't know.
doing here. I don't mind talking to you about that. But, yeah, so, look, the main thing, but I'm not concerned about talking about that. I'm happy to talk about, I'm not gonna step on what we're talking about right now. So you can get a hold of.
Yes,
Brian.
feel free to go through me. I'll get you connected at some point.
Hey, Daniel.
All right. Well, that was very quick. That was really quick. Now, here's what I got. Everybody seems to want to hide information from everybody else. And I say, which I put in the comments, hey, give the info. If anyone has any information, how about give it to both people and post it for the public? Because nobody knows what the back end, what the people in the back, have planned, what they, and I'm talking about on both sides. Let me make this disclaimer. This channel does not discriminate on the basis of race, color, creed, political affiliation. We do not have one. We always say left wing, right wing, same bird. So I personally say, hey, give it to everybody and give it to the public. How about that? If the public has actual information, which is not he said, she said, but actual like documentation, actual videos, actual pictures, actual evidence, let everyone see it. Because, and I say this partly of my own experience in Minnesota. I mean, hey, Minnesota, y'all got a whole lot of cases that you haven't prosecuted, don't want to prosecute. I mean, can you really handle this? That's just my opinion. Seeing how many people tend to get away with such egregious crimes, I don't know. I'm not sure about letting them handle it. And again, that's my own personal situation, my own personal information. But I say let everybody have the information. And as usual, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. We're going to get up out of here because I really don't like talking about things politically speaking. I'm speaking from a personal standpoint. All right. Until next time, sending love and light. And we will talk to you.